What's the line? War never changes.
War never changes. And yeah, Quinn, do you smell that?
Smell what?
It smells like the apocalypse!
Oh, this guy?
You are listening to the Heroes Blade Vibe Check. My name is Cole, and I am joined once again by the lovely Empress Quinn. What's up, Quinn?
Hey, gamers.
And it's Fallout preview season, properly in earnest. We're recording this on Tuesday, when we just had a big reveal of a bunch of cards from content creators in the mothership. So we'll get into that, but first things first, let's start with a community response via Spotify. Let me find out what the question was I'm totally prepared for this episode, trust me. What I do for each of these episodes is I put a question out somewhere. Yeah, I can't find it here. Well, it's sometimes questions pop up on these episodes. And I ask people to respond to them and get back to us about it. But essentially the question, the general vibe was like, hey, in 2024, how are you attempting to engage in Magic? Did you enjoy any of the recent sets? What are things or highlights that you've had? The only reply that we got for that episode was from Draco Lucian, so thank you for doing that.
Draco, yeah, shout out to you, Draco.
Draco says, the recent sets came out after I took a few sets off. So, having the breakaway and coming back to good sets has done me a lot of good for me towards Magic, and I imagine you mean towards your feeling towards Magic. And that'll be a bit of a topic for this episode. It's just been something I've been thinking about in the last few months. But before we get into that, let's talk about some vibe checks that we've had in the last few weeks. Quinn, what are some of the vibe checks you've thought about, that you felt, that you've experienced?
Do we just fucking jump right into it with that one guy?
the one guy? I don't know. The new guy?
Yeah, the new guy.
All right. Let's talk about how democracy is non-negotiable. Let's talk about Liberty Prime.
Liberty fucking Prime passes the vibe check IMO. Liberty Prime Recharged is a legendary artifact creature robot who's an 8/8 for 2, blue, red, white, and it's got Vigilance, Trample, and Haste, and whenever it attacks or blocks, you sacrifice it unless you pay 2 energy, and you can spend 2 mana, tap it, and sacrifice an artifact to get 2 energy and draw a card. So it, in a way, turns all of your artifacts into clues ++. So that's neat. The thing here is that's an 8/8 with trample, and if you put the Hero's Blade on that, 9, 10, 11 with trample, which is 2 hit clock.
Yeah. So
also you can crunch the blade when you're done with it and like make more energy and draw a card. Like, it's sick as hell, dude.
Yeah. I was not surprised to see this guy show up. Like, all right, so we'll just preface everything. I know a lot. I have an approximate knowledge of a lot of Fallout lore, and you have just only dipped like your pinky toe into it.
Yeah, I'm like 12 hours into Fallout New Vegas.
Congratulations. Glad you've gotten that far.
Yeah, we made it to Freeside. We're seeing what's good around there and trying to find a passport. My bad for the derailing. We'll get back on track.
No, but yeah, so Liberty Prime shows up in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, and this specific version, probably because he's called Recharged, I imagine he's probably the Fallout 4 version because something happens to him in Fallout 3 that requires him to be recharged. But really...
You should just spoil that because I'm not going to play that game.
Anyway, he gets blown up. He gets damaged, he gets blown up. No big deal.
Sounds
they just
good.
rebuild him. But I do find it really cool that I'm like, obviously, like, if we're talking about... Since they are showing a bunch of legendary creatures... throughout Magic's history, including from 1 through to 76. Liberty Prime was a no-brainer addition. This guy is super sweet. Obviously, because of how like nuclear power is handled in the games, it's always short-term. Because, hey, guess what? nuclear power has a half-life, and when 200 years has occurred, a lot of like the nuclear fuel cells like just don't work like they used to. Being able to convert artifacts into energy, and obviously being part of an energy deck, plus like whatever Kaldheim had going on, and as long as they're not doing a bunch of major like energy card reprints, Kaladesh. Sorry, excuse me.
We got there.
No, it's actually Emiket. But yeah, like this guy is going to be super sweet. If we don't see him at commander tables, I would be shocked, because like you said, like not every day for 5 mana you get an 8/8 in a non-green color combination.
Yeah, you gotta come up at them coins if you don't want to like sacrifice it instantly, but I think if you're in at least red and blue, you'll be able to figure something out with energy. White's also pretty alright at it. I think the deck is, and they just like built a whole ass precon for you, so like it'll be fine.
Yeah, and if
you can pay that cost.
If the trend has been continuing in terms of relative power level of the precons for the last couple of years, like obviously all these decks are going to be absolutely playable out the gate. It's not even surprising. Also, if you're looking to upgrade the energy precon, you should also include Audric Bloodcursed, because this bad boy's got 3 keywords on him.
Your boy is out here Bloodrick posting in the opening.
Well, we'll be Bloodrick posting throughout this entire episode, don't you worry. But yeah,
I love to hear it.
Liberty Prime.
Gamers. We are shifting Liberty Prime into Bloodrick
mode. Already, it's happening. But yeah, this no-brainer. Like, Windmill Slam, Liberty Prime, amazing, awesome preview. Great way to start off the hype for these decks. And now for some regular Commander gameplay stuff that we've had. I probably mentioned Death Leaper before in previous episodes, but we've only got 8 episodes in, no big deal. But yeah, Death Leaper has been a very interesting card to play with as a commander as part of the 99 recently. Not every day you get a Gruul creature that's 2 red and a green for a Tyrannid that's a 3/3 with haste, flash, and creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn have double strike until the end of turn. So as a commander, I'm still trying to find out the balance of like how many flash creatures and how many haste creatures do I want to put in the deck that offers probably too much flexibility that I end up doing nothing but just holding a bunch of cards back. But as part of the 99 with Mr. Orfeo the Boulder, when you're throwing out ball lightning variants every turn, this guy, fantastic. And throwing on a Hero's Blade on this guy, going from 3 to 6 with theoretical double strike when he enters the battlefield.
Oh, yes.
Mwah! Beautiful. So put the pressure on. This guy's great. Slap a Hero Blade. Kind of probably similar to how Dale edited in the Hero's Blade in Ansrag. Very similar, like, where does it go? It's a giant bug alien dude. I don't know. He picks it up and he makes it work. It's like, why does...
Yeah, I think the point of Death Leaper is that it's just a mass of claws and chitin and whatever the fuck else those Tyranids are made of. It's not like anything that we would recognize because it's alien, Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of the point. Like, it's just a mass of blades and you just need to not get got.
But yeah. So, Hero Blade on this thing, good. What do you got, Quinn?
I think we got just a tiny bit of a controversial take here, maybe, but I don't think that Ishai Ojutai Dragon Speaker passes the Hero's Blade vibe check.
Explain. I'm very curious.
Okay, so my thing is, if I'm playing Ishai, she's gonna get counters no matter what happens, and I kind of don't want to waste energy on a thing that will buff Ishai if I can just let my opponent spend mana on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a whole ass spell that I don't have to cast.
Right,
and
but
in this particular case,
it's a 2 mana spell that's going to come out before your 4 mana commander. I realized last night, because I faced against Ishai, that it is 4 mana. I thought it was 5, but anyway.
Yeah, it's a 4 mana commander. So yeah, you play the blade early and then she picks it up and then you've got like 4 power to begin with. But she gets those counters so fast that +3 is basically like negligible. And like maybe your like first turn swinging with Ishai is more meaningful. But I just would still rather let my opponents buff a shy, and I'll just spend my mana on advancing my game state in other ways.
Fair enough. It'll be interesting to see what some people's reactions to this episode will be. That it might be the most contentious thing we've ever said on this thing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a hot take. Weigh in the comments below, gamers.
But yeah, flying evasive thing that gets bigger over time. I mean, I just like those quick, easy, low investment boosts. But I'm also not a shy player, so no idea. Or sorry, Ojutai, excuse me. No, wait,
No, that's her name. Ishai Ojutai Dragon Speaker.
Ah, okay. I
That's
only just saw... I'm looking at the notes. I immediately just skip right over Ishai's name and just see Ojutai, and I'm like, wait a minute. But yeah. Unsure. I do like the evasive grow. Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of dragons, Owl the Dawn Sky. 100 flippin' percent passes the vibe check. If only because... And it's a multi-layered thing. If anyone knows what Owl the Dawn Sky does... But it has 2 keywords. It gives flying and vigilance, and it's a 5/4 dragon. But let's talk about the fact that when you have Owl die, you get to look at the top 7 cards of your library, and you get to put a combination of any cards with combined total mana value 4 or less into play, and then you put the rest of them in the bottom of your library. Maybe you can put +1 counters in your vehicles and creatures if Owl dies, but we're mainly talking about the most busted part of that card, of just getting free value. Offensively, defensively, throwing a Hero's Blade on it, becoming an 8/6, pretty good offensively and defensively, and then deterring attacks. And I don't know. I again, maybe they're all kind of the same deck because of how just busted it is. But man, I love my Owl deck. It just does. It just literally just shits out immense value, and I love it. And the other day I was like, I have committed every dragon crime. Like, do you remember when there was the Gideon Jura memes when Oath of the Gatewatch or whatever came out, and it was just him?
No, I have not been playing Magic the Gathering that long.
Right, okay, so there was a joke because he was such a goody two-shoes boy that he would go around the plains shouting crime, like CRINE, instead of saying crime, because he was just so locked into it, and everyone's like, Gideon, stop! He's like, crime! And so I was like, I'm committing dragon crimes in mono white, just cause, but...
You sure are. That dragon is kind of extremely strong, and I'm just like, you're never swinging into that.
No, like, because you just know if you do, and I block it, it dies, it's just gonna be bad news of whatever I'm gonna be putting out.
And I'm never trading favorably because it's going to be a fucking 8/6 with the Hero's Blade. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? And it's got vigilance. Like, fuck off.
I love this thing so much, though. It's just a lot of fun. A lot of good fun.
I gotta hit it with the Baleful Mastery, gamers. That's the move.
Yeah, I gave it Gift of Immortality, and they were like, we cannot remove that. And I'm like, cool, I will now sacrifice him and bring him back, and then I'll do it again, and I'll do it again. And they're like, okay, we get it, thank you.
That game sounds pretty over.
What's the next vibe check? What do you got?
Way less controversial of a take. Timna the Weaver passes the vibe check. Easy peasy. She's a 2/2 of lifelink, and when she enters the battlefield, she would be like a 5/3, something like that. And she's a 3-drop, so just like you're playing your Hero's Blade, you're playing your Timna the Weaver.
No, she should be a 5. She should be a 5/4.
5/4, right? I always forget that it's 3/2. That's sweet.
But yeah, so, I should play more Timna the Weaver. Honestly, at this point, I don't know why.
I genuinely think that she encourages the casual mid-range game plan of turning creatures sideways at each of your opponents, and she rewards you for that very big ask by letting you draw cards, which is extremely powerful, but you have to send your guys into danger every turn if you want that, and pay life. So it's not like you're not, like, paying up.
Yeah. It's always too good value. I don't know. I'm trying to trim down decks, and I said I think I was going to say I cut another deck, but then immediately in the same document here, I immediately was like, nope, that's not true, because I built another deck immediately right after it. But we'll get into that in a bit here.
You're over here like, so I cut another deck and then just smash cut, so I built another deck.
And it's Simic bullshit. But anyway, so this last one is a shout out to LevDev, who is someone who's going to have, I believe, 2 or 3 Fallout previews this season. So congrats, LevDev. I was playing a game with him over with Beth on Queen of Cardboard. And obviously, while Beth and I were having our blood feud to end all blood feuds, as I had many blood feuds, as she's sitting there...
You're such a blood feudy gamer. What is up with that?
I have blood feuds with many people. It is not a problem, because I keep getting invited back.
You know what? Fair enough.
But LevDev was my new blood enemy in this case, just because he was sitting back and then he started doing stuff with his Sophia dogged detective deck.
Oh, that's the new Bannock Clues, like commander, but also dogs commander.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, again, as with other previously mentioned cards that also make legendary tokens when they enter, Sophia and the as I called it here, the fucking Scooby-Doo token, aka Tiny.
Yeah, you take one look at that dog and tell me that that's not extremely Scooby-Doo inspired. Like, come on, bruh.
But
be
yeah,
for real.
LevDev, I don't know if you'd ever listened to this, but I would heavily encourage you to include a Hero's Blade, because especially if you're turning dogs sideways, especially Tiny, to get those clue and food payoffs, like that, this is definitely the deck. But yeah, the deck slaps. I think LevDev won that game because... No, wait. Maybe it was Jose. I'll have to go back and watch the VOD. But, yeah. The deck's pretty... The card's scary itself. The deck is pretty scary. But another amazing commander card, a new recent commander card that benefits both as the card itself and the token it makes. You love to see it.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
Any other mentions? I don't see anything there, but, you just never know.
I think that's it for the vibe checks for this week. Let's roll on into some content. What you got for me, Cole? You had a very long Tumblr post that I reblogged, so tell people about that.
So, yeah. So this was obviously Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. It's fucking Twitter. I used to be a Tumblr baby, to more or less. Like, I've been on Tumblr since I was like 14. And over the years, like, eventually I converted everything to like make it art stuff or magic stuff. And then the Great Migration occurred, and suddenly there wasn't as many content creators or people who were engaging in magic stuff on Tumblr as much as I like. And eventually, I joined Twitter too. Go figure. I'm like, well, I don't want to make a new blog, and I don't write for any websites, and I don't even know if I would be able to meet any particular criteria, because, like, people are already doing a good job by themselves already. But I'm like, all right, but what can I do for myself, and what do I have access to website-wise? And I'm like, well, Tumblr still does exist, so let's use it. So, this is not Bloodrick posting yet, but it is Killer Queen posting, kind of.
Let's fucking go.
So the title of this quote-unquote article that I put up on Tumblr is called Breathing New Life into Magic Cards, where I go to talk about my experiences with building Killer Queen, which is, like, if anyone who hasn't heard it, but should definitely know and look into it, because I think it's a super cool idea. It's a 155 card singleton deck with 2 to 4 copies of Queen Marchesa for players who will be playing from the same deck and same graveyard and have all the same accessible resources, where you try to scry, surveil, and lie and bluff and cheat to secure your victory. As the bloodiest, killerest queen of all. But it's just been a fun way to change up some gameplay patterns and some way of me engaging with Magic for myself. I was very passionate about it much around October, I think, when I first was making it, and I just dove right into it. And right now, Still haven't really had anyone to play with it again yet, but people have expressed interest, so perhaps the next time I go out, we might be able to hear about it. I don't know.
I would like to play the Killer Queen.
I would love it if you did. That would be super great. But yeah, like, part of the reason that I made it is that there's kind of been this underlying opinion from some people, and it's something that people, like, either people are leaving Magic, and there's a lot of reasons why people are quote-unquote leaving Magic. Maybe they're not really leaving, they need to financially cash out, they're not getting enough games because of responsibilities with, like, life, work, family, and so on. Time zones, blah, 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 right? And in this hyper release schedule that we're in when it comes to, like, Magic product and stuff, that is very easy to kind of get lost in the previews, become disenfranchised and devalued as, like, a consumer, as a player. And we're kind of go circle back to what Drake Illusion said in the community response, is that people should find ways to engage with this game in a much more healthier way. And whether that means not engaging in social media, not consuming content, playing more Magic, playing less Magic, playing constructed formats, playing more Commander, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's 100,000 different ways that you could be engaging or not engaging with Magic in a much more meaningful, healthy way for you as an individual. I've been a person who, Mr. Fitzy Fitz, as he always calls me out, and we were talking about it earlier today, is that I'm very much a hype man about Magic, even in spite of all the WotC controversy and discourse on Twitter and all this other stuff. It's very easy to get caught up in all of it, but I just like Magic so much that I feel like maybe to my detriment, I kind of, like, rise above all of it and still enjoy it. But I also know that there's going to be probably times I'll need to step away, miss games, miss streams, and maybe even have a break on the cast here, like I've done with Uncommon Commander a couple times. So it's like, my article mentions, like, you should find different ways of engaging in this game, whether that means you use your collection for some silly tabletop or some silly, like, kitchen table Magic again, or whatever floats your boat, or whatever your needs are. But just, yeah, think about what's going on with your relationship and why you're disenfranchised or you don't feel very engaged, and try to find a way to, like, healthily still love this game. I would love for people to stick around even if they don't get to play as much.
Hell yeah. That's a beautiful sentiment, and I'm definitely seconding that. Gamers, it's okay to log off, and I would encourage doing that occasionally.
Yeah.
If you're feeling like there's entirely too much, then simply see less of it.
Yeah. I had a couple tweets back and forth with Trenton earlier today or last night, I think. And he said, he was telling me, he's like, he feels better about Magic now by having less games. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And he's like, but yeah, like, having less games, having, like, 1 or 2, 3 games a week, maybe even in one evening, and then calling it there. That's why we have a bunch of, like, weekend warriors in a bunch of our servers where, Friday night, Saturday night rolls up and they're willing to jam, And that, because that's the only day they can do it. And yeah, especially with a bunch of the stuff that's been going on, like, if you are entrenched and enfranchised as we are, being online can expose you to a lot of crazy shit. And it's just better to
people be posting.
Yes, we won't talk about it, but
yeah, will not talk about it.
We're not talking about it, but I know I do it too. Unintentionally, but it happens. But yeah, it's just, I should probably turn off Twitter for a week. It would probably do me a huge favor.
Stay safe out there, gamers.
Yeah, but yeah. So there'll be a link there. I don't think you need a mobile app or anything. You just open it up. It opens up in your browser. So hey, woo! I wrote something. I feel pretty proud about it.
Hell yeah.
Sheldon.
Can we talk about 7 cards for a very special guy?
Yeah. I mean, you could say this part. I mean, if everyone knows, you know, but if you don't know.
Yeah, so the Secret Lair Sheldon spellbook got announced to benefit the American Cancer Society, which is pretty cool. And the cards selected are awesome. We got Teferi's Protection, and Eladami's Vineyard, Bene Supremo, which is Italian for Greater Good, Ink Shield, and Ruhan of the Fomori flavored as Sheldon the Commander, as well as a Soaring and Command Tower. And it's all got extremely pretty art and moving like references and all of that to his life in the flavor text. It's an extremely touching tribute, and if you are into that kind of thing, I think checking that out is cool.
Yeah. Obviously, people have expressed their reservations of why.
I'm not going to talk about them.
We're not going to talk. I think it's a cool thing, and it was going to be coming out whether Sheldon passed away or not. As it's been repeatedly iterated by his family and friends. And half of the proceeds, obviously, we'd probably prefer if like more proceeds went to certain organizations. But in this case,
the thing again.
Yeah, 50%'s good. And I also went and donated some money to the some Canadian cancer research stuff. Because my dollar works better for Canadian organizations than donating to American ones. But yeah. I think this is great. I got a buddy who's going to help me get one shipped up here just to save on a bit of shipping. And I can't wait to get my hands on some of these cards because, that ink, like his ink shield is fucking fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, that art is incredible. I also just really like the Johannes Voss Bene Supremo. This lady like cuddling a very like large and old dragon. It's and in this like gorgeous field of flowers at sunset, like
it's got pastel
piece.
Skies. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So link to check that out on the website. You could probably Scryfall also has the cards on the main website when you enter, so you can get a preview of them when you show up. This is part where I'm just gonna kind of go briefly over my terrible explanation of like the rules committee update thing from the other week. I kind of stumbled over talking about Sheldon, which was kind of silly because I felt a little bit pressured at the time to like try to make a grandiose speech and everything. But like Sheldon's obviously been a very important part of the community, and where I personally haven't really interacted with him. I think we talked about Nightwish a couple times on Twitter, you know, it's just something he was all about. Nice. But I don't know. He was a nice man, respected man. And, again, we're not going to talk about it, but it's very easy to get caught up in controversy. But I think it's good to try to healthily celebrate what this product is about and what he was about by also just jamming Commander. So let's continue to do that. And then there's also Gavin Verhey's video about the whole thing, so there'll be a link for you all to check that out. And now let's shift back into what the fuck is going on recently. I mean, okay, let's talk about a couple other things. Cal Jones, one of the hosts over at Herald's Horn, got out an article talking about some of the top commander cards of Murders at Markov Manor. And then Kristen Gregory put out, or Kristen Emily.
Karlov Manor.
Did I say Markov?
Yeah.
I was been so good about it the last few weeks. It was bound to happen anyway. Karlov Manor. Karlov, not Markov. Karlov. Anyway. Yeah, Carl's article's out about that. Kristen Gregory, or Kristen Emily, his article about blockers in Commander, where, as it turns out, yeah, blockers are surprisingly really good at Commander, because if Quinn and I are around, we are turning creatures sideways.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Chris has just got a good article on, like, the nuances of having blockers, what are the types of creatures that would be good as blockers, and how you deal with all that. So, go check that out. Okay, Fallout.
Okay. Yeah, tell me about this fucking Preston Garvey guy.
Sweeps everything off the desk. Let's talk about Fallout. So, I put up Preston Garvey in the docs here for a couple reasons, and it's very multi-layered. So Preston Garvey is one of the companions in Fallout 4, and he is part of the Minutemen, who, at the time of you encountering him as his character, he's basically the last active one alive. Him and the other 4 people that he's with are pinned down by raiders in one of the first towns that you go out of when you leave the vault. And he is trying his damnedest to keep everyone alive. But ever since the Minutemen fell apart and the town that they were part of was being ransacked by basically military raiders, he took this crew that was about as big as, I think, like 20 people or something across the Commonwealth to try to find a nice place to live. And everyone was just getting whittled down, including all of his other Minutemen friends. So when you find him, he's the last one. And you know what? Preston's a nice guy. For most people, that's it. That is as far as it goes, because the other half, the notorious half of him, he is part of the Radiant Quests for the Minutemen storyline, where he's like, hey, so you're going to be general. You're like, why? He's like, well, you're just better. And you're like, cool, so I'm the general of a 2-man army. He's like, great. Can you go help the settlement? And you're like, what? He's like, yeah, can you go help the settlement? They need help. I'm like, what about you? I'm the general. He's like, I gotta defend everyone here. You go do it. You're like, all right. And then you keep doing that, and you'll be in the middle of downtown Boston, or you'll be in the settlement, and he'll run up behind you. He's like, hey, another settlement needs your help. I'll put it on your map. And it's just a big meme of wasted potential being part of a gimmicky, repeating, zero depth, like quest lines for you to just go to place, fight raiders or rescue people, get stuff, go back home, get experience, and then just reloop it. And he is mandatory for the story because the Minutemen are sort of like the quote unquote optimistic / like neutral ending, where if you burn your bridges with everyone else, the Minutemen are kind of like the fallback. So there's a lot of like negative opinion about Preston in the community, and as a trade-off, his card is actually really fucking good. So he kind of redeems himself card-wise. I think he's just a cool character as he is. But so Preston Garvey Minutemen, 2 red, green, white for human soldier who's a 4/4. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you create a green aura enchantment token called Settlement. Insert laughter track here. Attach up to 1 target land you control. It has it's enchant land, and enchanted land has tap, add 1 mana of any color, which is great. It's mana fixing. And then whenever Preston Garvey Minutemen attacks, untap each enchanted permanent you control. So obviously he's quote unquote good color aligned because he's part of like the community. He's part of Boston. He's helping people out of the goodness of his heart and out of ideals. Settlements, obviously, the more settlements you have, the more settlement enchantments you have. The untap is obviously a lot more powerful because the quote-unquote community is working together and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's very flavorful, but it's the fact that he says untap each enchanted permanent you control. So you're slapping auras on your creatures and on your lands. This is pretty freaking good. He's pretty good.
Yeah, that seems extremely strong. Anytime you have the capability of untapping each land you control. I think, what's her name? That, Estrid? The girl who untaps everything with like a mask.
Yeah, with the mask tokens. Yeah, the Planeswalker. Yeah.
It's basically like that, and she's already like a known quantity powerful card. So seeing this again on Preston just gives me the indication that that is also going to be similarly strong. And like, when has Enchantress ever been bad?
Never. So yeah. This guy's going to be pretty good. Again, like 5 mana 4/4, like a lot of people might complain about the mana value, but like he sits at a good spot. You could probably get some early creatures and auras set up, and obviously you already have like auras that enchant lands to add double, triple mana of its value. So yeah, he's going to be pretty good. A lot of people are already
5 mana 4/4, but he's in green, so really it's like a 3 mana 4/4.
3 mana 4/4, yeah, true enough. Yeah. So yeah, he is part of the Naya Commander Precon involving like scrap and auras and equipment. So looking forward to see that on Commander tables in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty neat.
Were there any cards from previews today that you want to talk about or caught your eye? Because there's one particular one that caught my eye.
I was particularly enamored of the large robot of Liberty Prime. The rest of these have kind of just been like, oh neat, oh neat, oh neat. That I've just been like looking upon as they come across the dashboard or whatever. I did think Nuclear Fallout was pretty neat.
Nuclear Fallout is really cool.
Yeah, the sorcery for X black, and each creature gets twice -X until end of turn, and each player gets X rad counters. So you just like basically can burn your opponents out with that, and also ensure that they don't like swing with larges that like immediately the next turn. You're like wiping the board and then setting them up to die in their like pre-combat main phase to the rad trigger.
Yeah, so rad counters are in the form of the radiation card. It's a token. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, if you have any rad counters, you mill that many cards. And then for each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and you lose a rad counter. And I'm pretty sure, do these get enchanted? Are they put on players, I think? So you can proliferate them?
Yeah, they're put on players, so you can proliferate them.
Beautiful. The Wise Mothman is going to be leading that deck, and it's going to be scary. But yeah, that is
the same card from that deck, Rad Storm, that just says Storm Proliferate.
Yeah, I remember. We're kind of involved in a little background project right now, and don't know how well that's going, but maybe when it finally comes to light, we can talk about it. But it involves brewing a budget deck, and you and I were working on it together. And you put Red Storm in, and obviously, I don't think that card's going to be like 30 USD when the set finally comes out. But I was like, why is this deck really expensive? It's Red Storm. Okay.
I'm just like, obviously we have to cut that, but I'm just like, this is a fake price that I will not respect.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that was already shown off just today. Obviously, we had previews much earlier last year, and then we got some stuff coming out today. A lot of content creators are getting their hands on these and showing them off. So if anyone knows Fallout 3, 4, New Vegas, we got 3 Dog. We got a rando character I don't know from 76, so I'm not going to talk about it. We got a Solemn Simulacrum, who depicts a DLC character in Fallout 4 Ada. We got a Tarmogoyf sneaky reprint.
Oh, yeah, Tarmogoyf Deathclaw.
Yeah, the Scrounging Deathclaw. So it's very interesting to see that be printed at all. There's stuff that's make mutant squirrels. Blasphemous Act is getting a reprint. Fallout 4 companions. We got Codsworth and Kate. And then from New Vegas, a character you may eventually see. We got Veronica Distant Scribe. She's a Bloodrick card, let me tell you. So, and yeah, there's just a lot of references, a lot of named characters.
One of these collector booster cards is a card that has not been printed since like a Judge promo and Portal 3 Kingdoms, Ravages of War. It just says destroy all lands.
Yeah.
And it's got very cool Fallout art with like a Pip-Boy statue in the background with his thumbs up, and then a guy in front of him crying, pounding the ground, and then some other folks behind him. It's very, I don't know, the vibe is nice.
Yeah. No, they are really nailing that like 1950s, like 1940s, war era propaganda embellishment like artwork. Like, they got the sci-fi vibes, like, they got the post-apocalyptic sci-fi vibes with, like, ray guns and laser weapons and stuff, and then they got, like, that, they're nailing the cartoon stuff. So, very happy to see what's going to be happening here. Previews so far I'm pretty excited for, as usual, and discussions of like the games and everything's going on. And like you said, you're playing New Vegas right now. So it'll be pretty interesting to come back and check in on you where you're at some point. Just don't fall off it, because I swear to God, I will
probably fall off it. I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't really finish games.
I'm gonna roast you so hard.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, let's end some articles and discussion with a completely kind of related but not related one to.
Oh, hang on, I have one more Fallout card to talk about.
Okay, all right. What do you got?
I played some New Vegas earlier today, and I met the dog with the brain.
You met Rex, yay!
Yeah, Rex, who has a card that we saw last year, I think. But I met him in game, and I pointed at the screen. I saw the guy.
You're like, it's Leo pointing.
It's Rex from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Oh God, I love how Universes Beyond memes about characters has been. You finally sit down to consume the content that it originally comes from. You're like, it's from Magic the Gathering. You're like. It's the funniest. I
do that all the time with Warhammer now.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
I'm just reading Warhammer lore or whatever from the, I forget what the fucking library thing is called. And you're just like, oh, this guy, Be'lakor, the Dark Master, from Magic the Gathering. I love that.
I love Be'lakor. It's like, oh, it's Chun-Li from Fortnite. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, my friend Chun-Li.
One last thing. So there was an article. Well, there was when survival mode was originally updated for Fallout 4, someone was doing a permadeath run where they would obviously wipe their save if they died at any point. And they went on for a pretty extended period of time. They were min-maxing everything. They knew their routes. They knew where people were or enemies were and everything. And they had Preston aggroed against them. Now, Bethesda games are pretty goofy, but Bethesda went even further than normal, where they made a bunch of characters essential, which means they can't die, period. And you can mod them out, or you can do this, but the intent is to make sure that part of the game's endgame can be reached as long as one of these characters are alive. So Preston's aggroed, and Preston is basically the Terminator at this point. Oh, no. So this guy was running throughout the game trying to lose Preston so he could find a bed and save the game, because his character was running low on energy and he was really tired and all this other stuff. But every time he thought he was safe, Preston would re-enter his aggro range and prevent him from sleeping. And he can't kill him. He shot him as many times as he could. He's losing his loyalty by the bullet. And he's trying to dodge him by going into these random buildings, going through huge swaths of enemies that could draw aggro away from him and keep Preston locked in place, but he just kept going. And eventually I think he managed to debug or de-aggro him, so when he showed up again, he's like, hey General, what's up? But it was the do or die part where everyone articles were made about it. People remember it forever. So I'll include that article in the episode notes. But oh my God, I love the story, because the dude was just, okay, how do I get out of this? And he made it. He made it work.
That's extremely funny. I love the little role-playing experiences that you can build for yourself in games like that.
Yeah, the more further back you go, it's a lot easier to do because of how much options they give you. Bethesda's known to have recently taken away a lot of those options, so people don't find Fallout 4 to be quote-unquote a very good Fallout game, but there's enough mechanics and stuff in it that most people like myself think it's just a good enough game to just go in, have fun, be done with it, head out, do something else, mod it again, go back into it, and so on and so on. But also everyone's big favorite one is New Vegas. And heck, we're getting quite a bit of New Vegas rep already, so that's pretty exciting. So yeah, that's it for content, at least that I've been consuming or noting of lately. Anything else you've read or seen or watched or participated in?
Listen to the Legendary Creature podcast.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
And that's my plug.
What's up with games and brews lately?
Okay, so I was posting in the notes.
Yes, you were. I opened the doc late last week, and it was like, what is going on here?
Me and then an internal voice that we needed to tell to go away. So yeah, I brewed a Grixis treasures list, and here's where I got like sassy with me, because I'm just like, oh, I know, daring today, aren't we? Ramp in Grixis colors, what a cool and original concept. And I'm just like, also, let me finish. So the commanders that we selected for this were Fluros of Myro's Marvels and Vile Smasher the Fierce to give us the red, blue, black. And Fluros is one of those guys who wants you to name a thing. Let's just pull this guy up real quick.
Yeah, because I don't think I know what... Because this is the Unfinity card?
Yeah, he's got an acorn symbol at the bottom of the card, which means he's not strictly legal, but all of the gamers that I play with are cool, so we get to run cards like that. So the thing is, with Fluros, he's a 2 blue merfolk performer, 3/4, and as he enters the battlefield, you choose a number greater than 0. Whenever you cast a spell with power, toughness, or loyalty equal to the chosen number, target artifact or creature becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness XX until end of turn, where X is the chosen number, and then of course the partner ability. So the plan here is to name 5 with Fluros, and then we ramp and draw cards and amass treasures and cast creatures with power toughness 5 or planeswalkers with loyalty 5 to target our treasures with Fluros' ability and make them into 5/5s. So there's my cool novel concept. At this point, I roasted myself again with the why don't you just play Rise and Shine and Cyberdrive Awakener, and I'm just like, listen, we're trying something different. We're expanding our horizons and forcing our friends to engage with my silly little uncards, which is cool. So that's why we're doing it this way. It's, not bad of a game plan. I think we could tune that some and have an actual deck out of it. We got in a game with the deck. It did exactly what we built it to do. We did a bunch of fucking ramp, made the treasures, because you have to go over production of treasures because you need to turn them into the creatures. So we made a shit ton of treasures. We made them big. We did the combat, and then we all died to descent into Avernus, at which point Avernus descended. Amen.
I just love how Avernus descended has just been our new little meme the last, month, I feels like.
Yeah, I have, a big 3 of memes now. The fucking Avernus descended.
Get in the TARDIS.
Get in the TARDIS. And, I get tagged on people main decking Either Eyes now.
Yes, that was a recent one where I'm like, I was laughing because I was even thinking about it the other day, where someone was joking. They're like, you have, okay, well, it's one of the decks we'll be talking about a bit here, but I did have Aether Eyes in hand after the person accused me of having Aether Eyes in hand, and I said, what? No, Aether Eyes. They're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, I never did not have it. Go figure.
Out here like, what? You think I'm the kind of gamer who main decks Aether Eyes? Well, I am.
I also feel like I've ended up leaning more into Aether Eyes because of you memeing about main deck Aether Eyes. I'm like, no, it's Aether Eyes. It happens. You get blown out. And you're like, it's, yeah.
Yeah, I really do get blown the fuck out by Aether Eyes repeatedly, and it's still extremely strong. And I'm memeing about it, but also just I'm getting got.
But yeah, so this is kind of, we're going to circle back a little bit. This is the type of thing where I'm like, you want to engage in Magic a little bit differently. Yes, play your silver border cards. I will personally not want to do that. But in this case, I look at Fluros, I'm like, I don't know, you could tweak that a little bit. You could definitely just print that.
No, in Fluros' case, there's mechanically nothing that makes him silver border. It's just the fact that the rest of the cycle operates with things that are silver border, and it would be aesthetically abhorrent to not also treat him like that.
But yeah, I just find it all funny that they also put partner on him. I was just like, Yeah, you really just lean in hard on what you can do with a commander card. But,
Yeah. Give me more options. I love it. I can find all of my silly little ideas and pick partners from the ether and cram them together to give them like a home.
So how many Grixis decks do you have brewed at this point?
This is the part where you cut to an image of me inhaling deeply like I'm about to start a tirade, and then you see a Gorgon wearing sunglasses in a suit leaning down next to my ear and putting their hand on my shoulder, and they're whispering to me, and I'm closing my mouth. And then I'm looking at you and I'm saying, I've been advised not to comment.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's... I feel like your Grixis brewing is as bad, if not worse, than my Bloodrick posting.
Probably, yeah. I'm almost always reaching for something in Grixis colors if I have a silly little idea that I want to make happen. Either that, or then I, reach to Mardu colors, but it's almost always base Rakdos.
So, if Grixis is wet Rakdos... Damp Rakdos? Wet Rakdos?
It depends on how you build it. Sometimes it's wet Rakdos, and sometimes it's, is it with, twisted ambitions?
Okay, that's pretty funny. I was thinking, I'm like, oh, does that make Mardu dry Rakdos? And I'm like, no, that doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
No, that's Rakdos with a conscience.
Ah, there we go. The anti-hero Rakdos. Got it.
Probably, yeah. I mean, they did put Caesar in Mardu.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that. We'll let other people explain that. So, on my end, kind of just as an overview, kind of looking back even 3 weeks, kind of around the time of the last episode, I have been playing an annoying amount of 3 and 5 player pods when I go out to meet up with friends.
You're going to directly contradict us saying a couple episodes that those are fine?
Yes. Well, it's just in this particular moment, I'm willing to kind of retract the statement just for this episode. Obviously, if you can't find people, or you can't find the 4th, or can't find the 6th to, split your pods apart, then, you gotta make do, or you head home. But it's just that it just seems like the last few weeks, it's just been too many of them, so I'm just getting a little irritated. But that being said, on one hand, when we do have 6 people show up, then at least we can shuffle around a couple times for a few different games. And the games tend to go fairly quickly, so there is sort of that, levity of just being like, okay, good, the game's over, in, less than an hour. And then in the 5-player pods, because we're usually playing Star, where you designate either, because we kind of swap it around a bit, we either designate your neighbors or the 2 across your table as, your enemies. So that way your kind of achievement is much more narrow in scope, so you only have to take care of 2 people, rather than trying to beat 4 other people at the same time. Star has always been very interesting to have the dynamic of you beating one person is the win con for someone else, but if there being a problem, you both benefit from that player being defeated. So it's always an interesting dynamic, and a lot of us just make it work. But yeah, just for the time being, too many times I've had the 3 and 5 player games when I would have preferred to have the 4. And then now it's time to talk about Simic. I'm finally playing a Doctor Who card as the commander.
Doctor Who mentioned!
I was so happy when we just
No, I was going to force it later.
I know you were going to. I knew, yeah. But so I've been sitting on a Thanos the Toy Maker deck for the last few months. Wait, last few months? Brothers War was over a year ago. Anyway, it was a Simic deck.
Sorry, what? No, nah.
I'm pretty sure Brothers War was late 2020. Wait, 22? Yeah, late 22. Pretty sure. Anyway, so I've been playing it, and like whether it's something that like it was a symptom of me.
I guess it was late 22. All right, carry on.
Time to wither away again.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. It was from 2003. So what? We're gonna feel like 2 years are gonna go by in a flash, and we're gonna be like, that card was what date again? Dang it. So anyway, so yeah, I had Thanos the Toy Maker, where you cast a beast or a bird, you make an artifact token of it, and I had a mutate sub-theme, where you get to double mutate onto your target. So it's really funny when you have like stuff that blows people's stuff up or takes control of it or whatever, but I just had an oversaturation of certain things, and I was just not as satisfying to play it, and I could have tweaked it, but I was like, no, we're in the year where we start taking apart decks. And then I was sitting there, and I had most of the deck and part of the mana base like taken out, and I stared at it, and I'm like, well, I don't need to de-sleeve the lands, maybe. And then I'm like, where's that 6th Doctor? So I was like, okay, so I originally was gonna leave it, but then like Sunday night or Monday morning or whatever, I was like, fine, fuck it, we're just gonna cram it, right? So yeah, the 6th Doctor is a 6 mana 3/3 Time Lord Doctor. His Doctor.
Yeah.
I gotta get used to that.
It's okay.
And then, the first time that you are casting a historic spell on your turn, you copy it. And then you choose do targets for it if it has targets. But in my case, I'm like, how does double Galta, double Gargos, and double Kozilek, the one with the double colorless mana pips that counter spells and draws you cards?
Yeah, that's pretty bad for your opponents.
Yep, and sure enough, the very first game I had with it, I was the fucking problem. I might have misplayed something or misunderstood a rule of something, so I'm willing to just kind of slow my roll or change things up. But when you had a triple Kozileks out, where you have two giant 12/12s with menace, or 3 giant 12/12s with menace, and everyone's like, we gotta fucking kill this guy. I'm like, yeah, this is some Simic bullshit. So yeah, deck's good. Deck's been fun so far.
Now, I recognize that you've been playing that with no companion, but
yes.
My guy,
no,
it is fucking free to pick a companion
yes,
in the same colors.
But you see, Quinn,
or you can pick Clara and double your bullshit.
But I, at the moment, do not have a Clara, and I had no interest in putting in a Doctor's Companion because I was like, let's just test the waters a bit first, because like tomorrow I could probably just take the deck apart and not blink.
No, dude, write the rules text.
Yeah, but I don't want to, though. I also, I got the copy of the 6th Doctor from, like, a collector's pack or whatever when the set came out. And I think there was a historic or saga white companion, a Doctor's Companion that was part of the pack. And I could not tell you who it was. I don't know where it is. And it wasn't even a thought in my head, because my only thought was, let's just jam Simic and just see what happens.
Well, obviously you need to go get you a Teak and Yovanka, because she gives your attacking historic creature just one of them, +1/+1 and indestructible, which I think is, I'm checking my notes here, good?
Yeah. Saving your creatures in combat in ways that are severely bad for your opponents to be receiving. Yeah, no. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to test the waters with that deck. And again, I'm not 100% sold on it right now. But we are kind of heading into the end of the month. And I don't know when the next time I'm going to be getting games. Except, like, I don't know, maybe on the weekend or maybe sometime next week. I don't know. And it won't even be a part of my rotation because I might play Audric Blood Curse. But anyway, we'll go back to that in a second here. What's going on? What else is going on with you?
No, I have one more thing to request of your RE, the 6th Doctor deck. It's a TARDIS-compatible commander, which means you have to put the TARDIS in the 99, especially considering she is historic and will get copied with your 6th Doctor. And gamers, double Cascade, 2 free spells. It's really good. More at 11.
I put Emoti into the deck because there are some high-level spells. So I think
Fuck yeah, dude. Look at you. You're already on the Simic bullshit train. Just let's get this fucking TARDIS in there. Let's get this thing going.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm not 100% sold. I can't even get some of the red spells you've been gushing about since the set came out.
Dude, Ensnared by the Mara.
Ensnared by the Mara. That was the one. That was the one I was thinking of.
That's the one.
But yeah,
Oof.
I will think about drinking from the Doctor Who Kool-Aid in the future. I'll get back to
big sippy of the time vortex.
All right, what else is going on with you?
All right, going off script because I want to talk about a game that we played last night. So I usually have a Grixis Go deck helmed by Thraxamundar that I play, but last night I wanted to try a Doctor Who card, the Ronnie, who's a Time Lord scientist and is TARDIS compatible for anybody checking in the notes. So, big fan of that, and she is a 1 in Grixis for a 3/4 Time Lord scientist, and when she enters the battlefield or attacks, you create a red aura enchantment token named Mark of the Rani attached to another target creature. That token has enchant creature, and enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Then whenever goaded creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, investigate. And the deck that I built was basically the Rakdos Goad portion of the couple of instances of that precon that they've put out, and the blue-red Goad from the Fearcrag Cunning Instigator precon. And I really just wanted to make Fearcrag and Karazakar hold hands. So we built a Grixis deck, and we put a control win condition Thraxamundar at the top.
Oh, no. Anyway, yeah, keep going. Sorry, I just felt a migraine come on. But yeah, okay, keep going.
Yeah, the whole deck is about being a conniving little shitster, and your combats aren't going to go the way that you think they're going to go, but you are still going to go to combat because I crave blood and will have it. So that was my game plan. We did a bunch of directing combat. We played a Disrupt Decorum. We drew a shit ton of cards off of the clues with the Rani. We also drew a shit ton of cards off of Fearcrag. And ultimately, we ended up taking the W in that game because of a Calculating Lich getting me the last little bit of burnt damage we needed.
Calculating Lich, let's go.
Let's fucking go. I like that guy a lot. I do see the need for Hot Pursuit, though. I think that card would be a welcome addition to my Grixis Go deck. There's also a couple of other cards from the Doctor Who precon, the Grixis one, that goad stuff that I want to put in this deck. It's really just I 1-to-1 swapped Thraxamundar for the Rani, and I think that performed a little bit better than just having the control win condition in the command zone. So I think she might stay as the commander, and we make some adjustments to suit her needs. A Reckless Fireweaver would fucking cook.
Oh, wait. You mean some of Red's most busted magic cards with the... Oh, man, I'm so excited for scrap tokens if they do more in Red. Yeah, no. The Goad archetype has gotten a lot more flexible, a lot better over time. I guess the only grievance I would have about this whole brew is you can't cast Taunt from the Rampart.
Yeah, I do really miss Taunt from the Ramparts, but I'd have access to Carter Doomscourge, which is sort of the trade-off. Well, it's
basically like the same thing. It's
yeah.
I do love me some Carter Doomscourge, not gonna lie.
I put that guy in the same category as Wraths, and you know what? I'm right.
When you're right, you're right. I mean, it's just just everything about Carter Doomscourge from a design. And I think I had that situation the other night or the other day. I put out Carter Doomscourge in a game. And someone was like, I don't get it. I'm like, okay, so your stuff's goated. They're like, but is it? I'm like, well, no, not because it was a main core set card that technically goads you as the player, and then basically everything else following up on that turn has to commit. And they're like, oh, I understand now. And it's like, okay, good. Carter Doomscourge, fucking up commander tables since checks notes.
Since
2020? Oh. I might be wrong. Let me get back to you on that. But yeah, Goat's pretty gross. I don't know. If you cast one taunt from the rampart, you're howling. You cast don't move, and you get shunned forever.
You are not shunned. Don't be.
I'm obviously exaggerating. Oh yeah, it was 2021. Go for February 5th, 2021. Go figure.
Wow, goodness.
I'm going grayer by the day. Well, I am. I'm going silver. But anyway.
Yeah, but it's a good look for you. You're working that.
I know we're checking our notes and we're talking about goating and stuff, and all I saw was Mardu, and I clocked in on that. I had finally played Ishin Two Heavens is One after a while.
Oh hell yeah.
I love that guy so much. I need this might tie into the Bludger posting thing, but I had Aurelia the Law Above in Odric, and then I swapped Aurelia out for Agris Koss Spirit of Justice. Mm-hmm. And now, as I'm looking at Aurelia on my table here, I will now put Aurelia the Law Above into Ishin Two Heavens is One.
Yes,
who also has
cook so hard there.
Who also has Cardu Durham Scourge in the list as well. So I am going to be sitting back and seeing the chaos and laughing.
I want to see that Mardu, like, just not like your deck specifically, but I want to see like the Mardu Goad deck with Ishin and just all of the attack related triggers that also goad things.
It'll be absolutely disgusting. As I do, and thankfully this wasn't as impactful as the previous times I put a tweet out about Magic. The other day, because I was definitely very much the problem with my Ishin deck, because I had an Inferno Titan out with Vault of the Archangel, the Orzhov land that gives us stuff lifelink and death touch.
Oh, so you were just being really annoying with one instance of, or with instances of one damage?
Double instances of one damage, killing 6 things on the swing. Oh yeah, baby, I'm living the dream. And then someone was like, My name's Cole and I'm gonna wipe the board repeatedly. Also, I hate it when I can't play the game. I hate it when I can't play the game, but I sure love it as shit when no one else can do it when I'm playing. Look, as long as I'm doing it through creature base, it feels fine. But anyway, look, it's not every day you play Inferno Titan Commander. But anyway, I
play Inferno Titan Commander regularly. They wasn't riding with you like I was Inferno Titan.
I was there playing Magic with Inferno Titan before you even were playing Commander. Don't even get me started on that.
I didn't even know the fucking game existed, basically.
You were living your life unaware, and then you were drinking the juice and you were like, holy shit, this game whips ass.
I took one little hit of that Eldraine Loud pack and I've never been the same.
So yeah, someone hit me with an overwhelming splendor that day in that game. Then I went from having a great time to being like, fuck.
And card is designed to just fuck your game plan up, and
you know what? It was an enchantment deck. It was someone who was playing the black-white... what's his name? Daxos, yeah.
Nice.
And he did not reanimate it. He didn't do anything. He literally just straight up paid 8 and
hard-casted an overwhelming splendor. Now you know you've done fucked up.
Yeah, so I was like, well, unless
you extremely had that coming.
I was like, no, like, for sure, like... as usual, because it's on twitter.com, and I never put enough new ones because there's not a big enough character limit. And what am I going to put a disclaimer every time I tweet now? No. We bad shit post like men, I guess. Anyway. But yeah, I was like, I got hit with it, and it sucks. And the unfortunate thing is like, well, do you have the removal or whatever? And I'm like, well, we were in a 3-player game, so I don't really have the like room to do that, and the other 2 people were like, cool, so we're gonna crush you now. And I'm like, but my 1/1 Inferno Titan, no. But yeah, sometimes you just don't got it. Like, you literally just like don't have the removal. And
I'm pretty being just ridiculously cruel to you on the internet about it, though. Like, why are you like that, gamer?
Like, Benoit showed up, like, someone did a retweet, and they did a crying gif, and it was like, Commander players, when they encounter a powerful 8-mana spell, Benoit's like, where do these people come from, man? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's my energy.
I can't whine on the internet about a bad beat every once in a while. Fuck,
you just can't get away with shit around here. But yeah, I definitely slotting in. I gotta attempt to kind of revise the deck a bit. But I'm totally 100% slotting in Aurelia the Law Above because that deck would love when. Also, I was like, okay, so I was also like, did I put freaking Captivating Lich in here? And I was like, I swear I did. I swear I put it back in, and then I immediately found it with the first third of the deck. I was like, okay, whew, thank God. I love this card.
What a cool card.
Double combat triggers on everyone else, so they lose double the amount of life of a per attacking creature. And we got Hell Rider and Brutal Horde Chief, and yeah, we are loving all those triggers. It's great.
That is extremely my shit. Why don't I have an Ishin deck?
Why don't you? Come on, you take apart one Grixis deck and make one Ishin Two Heavens is one deck.
But then I wouldn't have access to that Grixis experience anymore, and I can simply just build and print.
No, I'm not talking. I'm not talking about take apart. You have 100 Grixis decks on Moxfield. I know this. I mean, just if you would build a Grixis deck, make a Mardu deck instead and make it Ishin.
You know what? Maybe I'll take you up on that. I guess I've kind of been hesitant because of hipster cred, but
it's too late.
Here's
the thing is that for every Ishin deck that is on EDH Rex, top X whatever cards of that deck, you just hit generate, it's the deck. You can really lean in deep on attack trigger stuff of just the most I made them with Vicious Conquistador and any one drop that drains on attack.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I think I've talked about this on the cast before. That 5-mana enchantment with Sorin and a bunch of vampires on Innistrad that whenever a creature you control attacks someone, they lose life and you gain life.
Mm-hmm.
So you just make your Artisan Light Ishin deck with every draft shaft, common and uncommon attack trigger creature, and supporting enchantment, and jam it sideways. You could play Fervent Charge comfortably with a really low curve Ishin deck.
Didn't that card get expensive?
I think it also went way down after the hype died down because people were like, I mean, it's good, and granted, getting a +4 just through attacking, it's pretty good. But I also, I'm pretty sure after the hype died down, that card, dropped off in price.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna build the Mardu Go deck.
Hell yeah. That's exactly what I want to hear.
Alright.
What else is going on with you?
Speaking of Mardu decks, we are back at it again, talking about a staff member of Myra's Marbles. This time it's Ignacio of Myra's Marbles.
Isn't that the one where you choose, a theme and the artwork or the name of the card has to match it?
Yeah, this guy earns his acorn by saying, as he enters the battlefield, choose armor, blood, book, bottle, fang, fire, scroll, spear, sword, or water. And whenever you cast a spell with the chosen object in its art, create 2 treasure tokens. So I chose Fang, and the plan with this deck is to play Mardu Pawblade by partnering him and Timna together. Here's where I was like, shut up to whoever was.
You're gonna play. You're playing Timna again.
How original.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I wasn't even gonna say.
Yeah,
anything.
no, I wasn't. I'm like, what? Who are you telling to shut up? Are you telling me to shut up? I wasn't gonna. We talk about. Look, if the
same internal voice from earlier.
Here's the podcast in a nutshell so far with our dynamic. It is Timna the Weaver, Audric posting, mentioning Benoit and Lenny every episode. Lenny, shout out.
Benoit, shout out. Check.
Avernus Dissented.
Amen.
Doctor Who. And now we're back. And combat and blood and death and yeah.
Yeah, turning guys sideways is like prayer. It's very important to me.
Mm-hmm, yes, we are a battlecruiser podcast.
Yeah, so speaking of turning guys sideways, the deck that we're talking about here, Mardu Pawblade, we cast a spell with fangs in the art, like almost all of my dogs and some of my support cards. Then we make treasures. And we use those treasures to cast more dogs, and we use the card draw granted by Timna from us playing our Go Wide Aggro game plan to draw into more dogs. And also we've got a bunch of Sword of the Animus style effects. We've got like Bitterthorn, the Sword of Blink and Ramp, and the Sword of Kill a Planeswalker and an Artifact. Just some like cards like that. And we're putting them on the dogs. We're playing Glorious Anthems. We're playing Virtue of
You're playing a
Loyalty.
War Leader's Call?
I think I got that in there. Yeah, I couldn't remember if that was in the considering still, if we actually like made the jump to put it in there. But
I mean,
War
look,
Leader's
if
Call
you can
whips
cut
ass.
you can cut one Glorious Anthem for one War Leader's Call.
You are correct. You can do that because War Leader's Call is Glorious Anthem and Impact Tremors, and they are making out sloppy style. It's real strong.
Yeah, it's really good.
So yeah, we're playing that, and then the game plan fuels itself. We cast our dogs, we turn our dogs sideways, and we hope we find enough damage multiplication to actually like play it out. The games that we've played with it, and we land Aurelia, she is unbelievable. She's so fucking strong. Go Wide aggro queen. The card draw and the lightning helix actually do work to keep you in the game. In my case, we didn't quite get enough to get the W. Gamers, there are not a whole lot of great dogs, but we are doing our best. And so as soon as my like average card quality, like I'm in a similar position with dogs as I am with phoenixes, where like the phoenixes are actually getting there. They're good, and I can like that deck is where I want it to be damn near. But dogs gamers,
yeah, they're too spread out color wise. Like we mentioned Sophia and Tiny earlier, and then you also think of your Ren and Ciri, or your Ginny Fae decks, and it's like, when you think about the distribution of certain creature types among those colors, you're like, well, obviously dogs that were hounds are like in green-white. Maybe if you squint, they might touch red a little bit. But
I think they're actually most often in red-white, which is why Boros Pawblade is such a strong deck in 60 card.
Okay. Because I was thinking you could get that new skeleton dog. No, wait, it makes dogs. It's not a dog itself. I take it back.
I did think about that, but that's dogs for my opponents.
Dogs for your opponents, yeah.
Never mind.
Did you get that
but
new...
I did get to add the new one-drop dog with Menace, Snarling Gorehound.
Yeah!
It's incredible in this deck. I get great card selection. I can play a Snarling Gorehound and curve that into a Spirited Companion and surveil and then draw a card, which feels incredible.
You are thinking from all the angles. That it was such a surprising card to see, and it's probably appeals just to a lot of people just through functionality and everything.
Yeah, that Snarling Gorehound is actually going to see a lot of play. I think that is really strong.
It was like Pauper playable, Standard playable, definitely Commander card. Just it's all the check marks are the check marks.
Love to hear it.
I also know what about your Aurelia story?
Oh, well, it's just that she was in the 99 of the Mardu Pawblade, and like I think mentioned a couple weeks ago, we were like trying to get her onto the battlefield and just couldn't make it happen. But then finally, we have a couple of times consistently had her on the field for a couple of rotations, and she's basically everything that we dreamed her to be. And I need to get my like physical copies of that card because I like it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the dossier version, and really, I understand that the tilted image and frame and everything, and the fact that all the cards look like they're white is not appealing to a lot of people. But these cards actually don't look that bad in.
I like the dossier frame treatment. In this particular case, I'm sort of torn between Aurelia's dossier frame and the Cityscape frame.
The Cityscape one is really pretty, though. I opened.
Really good.
I think I opened the Cityscape version of Rakdos the other day, and I'm kind of looking forward. I'm looking forward to see where I can slip him in.
I think you just make him the commander of a red-black hateful cards deck. Sorry.
No. I've been thinking about making another Rakdos deck after a bunch of decks I took apart, but I think I need to take a few more decks apart before I think about indulging. All right, everyone, it's Blood Drip Poster time. All that for one drop of blood. All right, so yeah, nothing like super duper exciting this time around. Just games have been consistently good with the deck. A bunch of the recent changes have worked well for me for what I want. I'm basically hitting sort of critical mass / sweet spot for where I want the deck. And you know what? Like, you cast For the Emperor as your discount a Chroma's Will, and people are like, holy fuck. And then the next turn you cast a Chroma's Will, and people are like, damn, dude, all right.
I put For the Emperor in my Mardu Pavle deck. We're giving it a try.
You have to try it. Like, like, obviously, I think we've talked about it before. There's a lot of like 4 mana variations, a very kind of similar relative power level of like all your creatures get plus X something, maybe a keyword, maybe they untap themselves, maybe it's an instant, maybe it's a sorcery. But for the Emperor,
4 mana win the game sorcery for your mono white aggro deck.
Yeah. So if you're on a budget or whatever, like, this card is sweet. It's the fact that it gives them all vigilance. Like, that led to some plays where people are like, holy shit, like, we can't go with a crackback or anything like that. It's just good value. Jorkadeen the Prevailer, I don't know why I never put this card in before, but like,
Jorkadeen.
I was on a stream game last week or the week. Oh, I was on Kuroatsuki's stream. And everyone was just like, what the fuck, man? What? I'm like, yeah, Jorkadeen, they get +3+. Yeah, I think I talked about the play the last episode where I discarded it. I kicked, shoot.
The Anthem with Kicker there.
Yeah. Glory, yeah. And bringing out Jorkadeen, and people are like, well, I obviously got to deal with that. And I had Jorkadeen show up in another game recently, and people were just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I got 2 blood tokens and a mana rock. Like, we're rocking it. Let's go.
Metalcraft is on, baby. Let's fucking go.
God, it's just like, I don't know. I think my scope and everything has changed, and like, obviously, the more you play with a particular deck, like, you get your reps in and figure out what really works and what doesn't work. And it's just like, I'm just like, why did I even care? He only had 1 keyword, or he was 5 mana. This dude is nuts. I thought I was going to swap something out for War Leader's Call, and I was going to take him out, just despite the fact that I just put him in. And then Trenton was on Twitter, like, being like, hovering. And then I immediately replied to myself afterward and said, no, what the fuck am I talking about? He's like, okay, there it is. Good. And yeah, like, I've won a few more games this month on the spreadsheet. I've won a few more games with Odric Blood Curse, so that's feeling good. Nice. I got a few more wins with a few other decks, but the ones with Odric feels much more satisfying. One of the recent things I put it there is the little snip I put in. Did we cook? Oh lordy! It's been good. I've been doing like. Have I won? Have I even won 25% of the games that I've been playing? No, but it is still a good time, and I'm still putting in effort and reps, and as kind of a part of the other notes here. People are understanding that it's not just a meme, and I'm really leaning into like how functionally unique or weak or circumstantial or niche how Odric works, and I encourage everyone to give those types of like strategies and cards a try, because obviously you can put a great commander in your command zone and play with shit cards, and the commander makes the deck work, or you can make the deck really good and make your commander really shine. And that's kind of where I'm operating right now, and it's a good time.
Hell yeah, dude. I love to hear that. I'm all about playing the card that speaks to your heart, regardless of the quality or whatever of the card, or like how strong it is. And just like seeing you Bloodrick post and people being like, Lamau Bloodrick posting, wait, hang on, he kind of cooking though.
Yeah. And then, like, speaking of cooking, there's a new card that I will now have to sit here and think deeply until the set release comes out, for a card of a character that is in your New Vegas game that you may or may not see, but considering you're in Freeside, I don't know if you've met them or not, or will. Veronica Dissident Scribe.
Where does she show up?
There's an outpost on an overpass on like one of the highways. So you'll see her kind of hanging around there. There's just like traders selling scrap and stuff. You'll find her there. She's got a power fist.
Yeah, I saw that in the art, and I was just like, oh, okay. Homegirl's got the power fist, but she's the scribe. She's out here like, I keep the word. Oh yeah, like, don't push me.
she's like, no, I like getting up close and personal. She's like, I can use laser pistols, but I don't really wanna. And you're like,
Queen.
Just fucking goes up and everyone just fucking splatters when they get fucking hit by her. So she's a 2 and a red for human artificer rogue that has menace. She's a 3/3. Whenever Veronica attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. I'm already 2 for 2 on this card. It is already great. The third part...
It's got a keyword and it loots. Perfect.
Whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards for the first time each turn, create a junk token, where the junk token is, it's an artifact. You can tap and sacrifice it to exile the top card of your library, and you would play the card that turn and activate only as a sorcery. Yes.
So you're out here off turn cracking blood tokens, making scrap.
Yeah, you are exactly correct. And because she kind of fits in kind of the same area as where NT Seneschal of the Sun sits. Mm-hmm. I can crack a blood token on my off turn to draw and discard, plus make a scrap token or junk token, and then also trigger NT to exile the top card of my library to play until my next end step. So this is the sweet red-white card advantage combination of stuff that I've been wanting. And like, yeah, the card advantage changes I've been making to Odric has worked out. But like NT with like blood tokens on off turns has been just gangbusters. And like Veronica just, again, contributes to like future artifacts, impulse or looting and evasion, and just blah love her. She's pretty great.
Hell yeah, dude. I can't wait to see how she performs in the deck. I'm sure she's gonna be great.
I just gotta sit there and think super deeply.
Yeah, you gotta shift into Bloodrick mode about it.
All times, every day, 24/7. You had a last minute note here, and I'll wrap my stuff up afterward as well, because we are hitting that hour and a half mark. Whoa.
Hell yeah. All right. So my last minute ad was I learned something about that deck and about myself that day. I was playing the Celestial Toymaker, which is the Factor Fictions Esper commander from a Doctor Who Secret Lair. And gamers, there is a time past which we should not be playing that deck. Got in an extremely late at night game, and we were trying to resolve some triggers for, I think, the enchantment that makes you make piles at every person's combat. And I was just at the point in the night and that game where I could not be bothered to care about that, and was just like, all right, I very clearly should not be playing this game anymore. It's time for bed.
Yeah, I'm good for staying up late and playing silly games of Magic where like you enter the fugue state and all your plays are either the most nonsense or you somehow like get the gamer lean and get like actually locked in better, because like there's nothing, the only thing between you and sleep is this game, so you might as well fucking just give her. But yeah, like especially the more complicated a commander deck is, when it like, listen, I've had commander games where I've had a few drinks. You partake in the marijuana.
Oh yeah, I don't play Magic the Gathering sober, so there's that.
I remember one time Fitz was telling me, this is like last year or the year before, where he was like, I played CDH Stone Cold sober and fucking crushed it. And I was like, Maybe there's something here. But yeah, like, there's that point where either you're so deep in the tank or you're just like 5 seconds away from passing out, where it's just all major brain functions just go out the window. You're like, wait, I don't want to resolve this, because if I do, it's going to cascade into something that I can't stop nor want to participate in. So I will not do that. I will collect my L and go to bed. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes gamers, you gotta know when to fucking call it, and I found the moment where I needed to call it.
And yeah, I, last two minor pieces here. Again, I mentioned it earlier, Al the Dawn Sky, committing dragon crimes. That's probably a deck, that if I played late, I would not know what would be like the proper sequencing for stuff, where I might miss stuff. But yeah, I had an unchecked game and just ran away with it, and the note I put here was, it was either I won due to a lack of removal, or it's just they didn't have it in that moment, just like when I mentioned the overwhelming splendor earlier. And then I in my sort of green X decks, again, Death Leaper, it's just, I need to figure out what I want to do with that deck, because I don't know if I'm going to be leaning too heavily in the Double Strike haste angle and encroach on Mr. Orpheus the Boulder, or I want to, I don't know. It's just not quite doing the thing I wanted to do just yet, and that may make or break the deck. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You could try, what's her name? The new submit in the command zone on that. It's a similar ask. And it draws you cards.
She's pretty flippin' sweet. She's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can think about that.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty sure that's it, yeah?
All right. We made it, gamers.
We did it again!
Hour and a half of content.
This is the gold standard.
Tight 90.
We'll check in with you all in a couple weeks when the rest of the stuff's come out. We could probably gush about more Fallout stuff, period.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I will have at least 2 new brews by then.
At least 2? Oh god, we're 2-hour episode. We'll see you next time.
Listen, not my fault. All right, tell the folks where they can find us.
All right, as usual, if you don't know it, you don't. If you don't like Twitter, don't worry about it. If you are on Twitter, you can find me at Uncommon CMDRMTG, and you can find Quinn at Girl Dick Energy. And you can find the main hub of our content anytime we post questions or talk about stuff over on HBVC_MTG. And you can find us also over on Blue Sky now that it's public. And that's HBVC-MTG on Blue Sky. And that's a wrap.
Hell yeah. Be excellent to each other. Later, gamers.